Welcome, Crowjack, back to the Surge of Power. How are you doing today, brother?
Hey, I'm doing great. How you doing?
Doing all right. Doing all right. We talked to Tad before the interview, of course, but dark clouds, rain. I'm over it, man. I'm over it over here in Jersey for sure.
Me too. We got the same thing going here.
How's the weather been over there by you, like in general? Shit.
Same crap. I mean, it's been like 60s, 70s, rain on and off.
Yeah.
We got a couple nice days here and there, but most of it's been rainy and cold, kind of cold.
Yeah.
70 to me, that's still cold.
Like yeah, this
Like,
70s are nice when it's like March or April, but we're in June, you know.
yeah, I'm ready for those 80s.
Yeah, we got some 90s coming up next week, so that's going to be nice. I think so far it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 straight 90s. So I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm hoping that's a trend for the rest of summer, and it's not like we're going to come back down to the 60s again.
Yeah, I'm ready for that sunshine.
Oh, absolutely.
I had enough of this rain.
Yeah, and the rain just brings the mood down, honestly. Like, you could be having a great week, and as soon as it starts raining and it's clouds, it's just like, here we go again. You know?
I just lose all gumption to do anything. So I look out there if it's raining, I'm like,
Yeah.
wait till later.
Yeah. But, other than, like, just recently, like, in general, we haven't talked, with an interview in a while. I think it's been over a year. From that point to now, I know you've gone through some stuff, so how are you doing in general? Like, how have you been since we talked last?
I'll tell you, believe it or not, I just came from a doctor's appointment just now here a little bit ago, and I was telling the doc, my primary care guy, he's an old friend of mine, and I said, boy, I feel better than I have been in a long time.
Oh, shit.
So I had this, funky ammonia going on, I guess, in my lungs. And, it took them a while to find it. And, I was pretty bad shape, but I've been down for, it seems like over a year.
Mm-hmm.
I just been down with, I had RSV last year in the winter time, and it just seems like, I've just been pretty shaky since then, and, it's been a lot. I was in the hospital 3 different times there, and they finally figured out I had this funky pneumonia or whatever, so they got rid of it, gave me these pills. So actually I feel better. I got I'm getting back on my feet. I was off my feet. I couldn't even do anything. I have a prosthetic leg, so
Yeah.
I couldn't. It was getting hard to get around. I was in a wheelchair, and it was real hard to get. So it's anyhow. Long story short, I'm doing much better and getting back on my feet. I got a new prosthetic leg, so I've been taking some walks, getting down to the end of the road and back and stuff. So I'm doing real good.
Awesome.
Way better than I have been. So.
Yeah, that's really great to hear, man. Honestly, I mean,
It was rough there for a minute.
Yeah, I had a pretty tough part of this year as well at one point. So I had all the stuff that went on my mother, which that was very difficult for me to go through for sure. And
I was watching that.
yeah, that was, but luckily on her behalf as well, just like as you are getting better, she's getting better. I mean, my mother has a severe scoliosis, so, and it's like kind of uncurable, but in general, I will say that like her demeanor, her movements, everything is starting to get better from when she was in the hospital to now, so that's good. We've had a lot of crazy things happen this year, and I think it is definitely a safe thing to say that 2025, honestly, I'm just hoping that the back half of the year is better, but...
Yeah, I started off rough. I ended up, I was in the hospital in January, then I went back in February, then I went back in March. And it's been an uphill battle, but I'm starting to feel better, and that's real good news about your mom too. I was trying to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
And we're sending prayers out and stuff, and stuff works, I guess. So I'm glad to hear she's doing better too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's found. I think it's time now we can pick it up and and maybe run with this year, this 2025 thing, you know.
Yeah.
Have a little fun now, you know.
Yeah. I was just bringing the mic up a little bit to the phone. It was all quiet, Rich Embry was telling me, but hopefully that's fixed now. So, feeling better is great, right? And the cool thing about feeling better is there a possibility we got any new Crowjack songs work?
You know, that's, if you'd asked me that probably a month ago, I would have said not in a million years because I was so sick, you know. I never thought I was going to get much better, you know. And you know, I wouldn't count it out. You know, I wouldn't say anything definite right now, but you know, there's been some. There's always talk of it, you know. So we'll see what happens. You know, it'd be nice. It'd be real nice if we could get a label interested. And you know, but money's always a tough thing, and the records are expensive to make. Even though we do a lot of it ourselves, it's just it requires a budget. I mean, so I mean, anything could happen though. Anything's possible. You know. Yeah, I think I got one left in me yet. So.
Yeah, I think you do too. I think you got one more, definitely one more heavy album or EP or something left in you for sure, man. Yeah, because I saw you changed over your Facebook profile photo, and by looking at that, I was like, ooh, a lot of times when bands do that, they got something in the works. So I was like, I have to ask him about this.
Yeah, you know, there's always talk of it. You know, the producer and I we were chatting the other day. We get together, you know, every so often and have a heart-to-heart conversation on, you know, how to save the world and everything. So
Yeah.
But, yeah, we spoke of it, and like I say, I feel so much better. You know, I think I could do one. You know, probably a month ago, I wasn't so sure I was ever gonna get well enough to do anything, you know. But feeling pretty good, so you know, and I know I've been, you know, we got all kinds of stuff in the backs of our minds, and so you never know, you know. I mean, like I say, there's been talk of it, and we always love to do it. So if it's meant to be, it's, you know, definitely, you know, you guys are gonna be the first ones to know.
Awesome, man.
So,
yeah, I think I've definitely, with your music, I've been trying to get it out to the DJs as much as possible. I mean, he was Liliac John before, now DJ JR Underwood. But he got it going. He got Crowjack in the rotation, which is good.
I've been hearing it.
Yeah, we got LR Thunder. I don't know if Carol's played you yet. I'm gonna have to get on her about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You know, I have to listen to the show. I tell you, believe it or not, I've been like really busy lately.
Yeah.
You know, I guess it got better, and all of a sudden, you know, there's a million things I've been doing. So we put the boat in the other day, my son and I, which was nice. We got to go for a nice little ride, and we're making plans to. Oh shit! I don't know if I should even bring this up because you know how we get when we talk about fishing and stuff. Yeah, anyhow, we're talking. You know, I got a grandson that he's getting ready to turn 5 years old, so I want to get him out in the boat. Maybe catch him some fish this year.
Yeah.
Catch his first fish.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess we're gonna go out and try and get some crappie.
Yeah, I think this year's a good. I don't know. When it comes to fishing so far, like I told you before, I'm not really on good terms with fishing so far, considering the first time I went, tried to catch a fish and it snapped my line. But you know what? I'm going back out there Thursday after the show, and I'm going to see what's going to happen there. I'm hoping to make some magic happen with fishing this year for sure.
And maybe we can snatch on that big one again and get another shot at him.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. It happened to my brother, actually. He was over at a smaller lake, and he caught a pickerel. As soon as he was reeling it in, boom, it escaped the hook. 5 minutes later, he caught the same exact pickerel.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And yeah, Rich Embry said in the chat that he plays Crowjack as well. So you know he's got you in rotation as well over here.
Yeah, you know, we talked. He and I talked. Well, it's been about a year and a half ago we talked, and I think that was the first time when he first played us, and it was just so hard to keep. I try and keep up with all these radio stations and try and listen to them all every now and then, but it's there's so many of them, so you can't listen to all of them.
Yeah.
So I always see the people that tag us, so I always make sure I post stuff about them. But I knew Rich was playing this. I just never get a chance to catch a show that often. Every now and then I'll catch it, but not as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
He's pretty cool, dude. We spoke a few times.
Yeah. No, Rich Embry, he's messing with me in the chat. Something's up with the sound he's saying, but I don't know if there's an issue too much going on with the sound. I honestly, I can't hear it. I'd have to like unmute my headset, and that would just cause a giant reverb. But
I can't listen to it. I probably could, but I'm not techy enough.
he's saying he'll spank me later, so you know what? I'm getting in trouble. It's okay.
And tell him I said, hey, how's he doing? Good to hear from him.
Yep, and speaking of positive comments as well, I mean, you got another one coming in from LR Thunder. He's in chat as well. He said, Crowjack's truly a wonder with all the plugs he gives to the station, the DJs, and the shows. Thanks for all you do, Rod.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate all the everything that you do for Crowjack. You guys take good care of us.
Absolutely. I try to get a lot of these the independent bands, smaller bands, promo bands. I really try to push all their stuff out, especially when I know I'm being supported back as well. I mean, I just keep trying to push everybody out there, I've got, so far in the station, we had 10 at the beginning of this month, or beginning of May. We're down to 8 DJs, a couple of disagreements in there. But, yeah, I mean, it's been a wacky year for DJs, I will say that. We had a guy from Australia earlier in the year, and that dude, man, he could not keep controversial opinions to himself. He was supposed to give out a CD to John. John won one of his giveaways, and he just did not send a CD. And I was like, dude, I gotta get rid of this guy. And that guy caused a bunch of aftermath bullshit.
I think I remember reading something about it.
Yeah, he was, oh my god, he was terrible. And like, the other problem was, like, he was a brand new DJ, and I got myself trying to help him out, and I've got LR trying to help him out, and a couple of other people, and he just wasn't really listening to us. And then we had another guy just like that, who was from California, and I had the entire station in unison trying to help this guy out, and it just didn't work. That was.
I think about it sometimes, but I think if I'm going to put any time in, I think it's going to be in some good Crowjack stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think, maybe I should just put a show together and do some radio shows.
Yeah.
Enjoy it, but I don't know. I think if I'm going to put some time in, I better just stick to what I know how to do.
Yeah, radio's definitely. It's fun. I'm not gonna come out and say it's a challenging thing, but it's just like it could get tedious at times for sure. That's definitely the part that can get on me, man. It can get tedious. Like if I'm on the air for like 2.5 hours, I know I'm at the end of the show. It's kind of like just having a job. You're at the end of your work shift, man. You just want to clock out and go lay down.
Yeah.
So.
It's just like anything else, I guess.
Yeah, and as Rich always says, because he used to run a radio station, he always says, I work 25 hours a day, and I cannot relate any more to that one.
I can imagine, yeah. Because, you get a lot of, people might think you just get on there and, let these songs rip and stuff. You got to research all these songs, and you got to collect them all.
Yeah. I mean, working.
It's probably a full-time job. I know keeping up with the tags and stuff on these things. I know I'm terribly guilty of it. When we made MP3s of all our stuff, my producer did it, and we didn't make these MP3s with the extent of sending them out to radio stations. We made them for something else, for our own benefits.
Yeah.
So we could tag them real good. Like, you know, like the Ruins Speak, we might have just put Ruins just for us because we knew what it was, you know what I mean? And so we ended up all sending those out, and most of the people that got them, most of the DJs got them, they got these tags that, you know, they're not really the names of the songs, so
Yeah.
I talked to them because most of them get figured out and return them for me, but like I say, I'm not real techie, so I didn't know how to change them.
Yeah.
So, but I know we were guilty of it too, so I imagine you get a lot of that. And it, you know, that probably takes hours.
I mean, what you're describing, yeah, it's incorrect tags, but we get a lot worse. You get songs that are titled like 2025 04 123, and then you go to the metadata, it's just all blank. I'm like, well, what is this? Who like I just this past, it wasn't this week, but the following week, I got sent over about maybe 7 gigabytes of songs. And luckily, I will say only 2 or 3 bands were not usable. But going back a few weeks ago, I got sent over 4.5 gigabytes of music for like a gigabyte of it to be actually usable. Because the rest of it was just a bunch of gibberish. And that's when I went on like that big rant on Facebook just complaining about it. I mean, I try not to do that because, you know, some people do get offended over it, and I get it. But it's just like, I want to get the music out there, you know?
I tell you, you know what else I'm guilty of? But I don't know what else to do. You know, I'm not real computer techy. I mean, I can do it when I figure stuff out. Whatever I need to do, I can figure it out, whatever. But when I send the DJ, these poor DJs, I'll send them a batch of songs. Say that, you know, okay, I'm going to send you a record over. I have to, if the record has 8 songs on it, I have to send them 8 different emails.
Yeah.
Because I haven't figured out how to send them together. You know, they're always too big.
Yeah.
For one email. And, you know, I know you can, you know, there's ways to do it, but I end up always, I send them 8 different emails. That's going to be a pain in their blood, too.
I can definitely work with you on that. There's a software or a website online. You just drag all the music in and you just send it over to an email. It's called WeTransfer, and it's been working beautifully for me.
I think I did use that for some different stuff, but I'm not real techy with it yet, you know, so.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, I've really been sending, I gotta send, John Ballistic, you know John, from, Music from the 412?
I've seen the name, I don't know him particularly, though.
He does the Underdog, or the Underground Jukebox. He's pretty nice guy. I think he's originally from Pittsburgh, but he lives in Seattle now.
Uh-huh.
So, anyhow, I gotta send him some stuff out. I don't think he has the first record, We All Fall Down.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to send him, and I was just thinking about it the other day, that poor guy, there's 9 songs, so I'm gonna have to send him 9 different emails.
Yeah, those 2 albums, your EP of Jacob's Ladder and the debut album, and We All Fall Down, those ones I actually grabbed on my own. I found them over on Spotify, and I just went and grabbed them from there.
Oh, yeah.
But,
so they'd be on YouTube, Spotify, and all that stuff, so.
Yeah, I mean, that was actually how I found out with Mellow Yellow. I was just taking a run one day. It just so happened to be playing on one of my playlist apps. And I was like, okay, I'm getting a little faster, so this is good. So now it's just every time I run any running playlist, I'm like, well, this has to be in there. Like, there's just not really a question. I need Mellow Yellow in order to get faster.
That's good.
That's it.
Good thing.
Absolutely.
I tell you, a lot of the radio stations, they're playing a lot of stuff off of all 3 records.
Yeah.
So most of them are. So that's cool. That's really great. I'm glad to, you know, back in when we released those records, the first 2 records, you know, you pretty much had to have a label to get any attention, you know, as far as airplay or any kind of radio play. So, you know, and we weren't lucky enough to sign a deal with any of the labels. So, you know, it's nice to hear all the songs getting airplay now, so.
Yeah. I think that's just the beauty of online radio. You know, you go and you listen to just a local radio station from your area, I mean, you're going to hear the same top 40 stuff that you've heard 1,000 times, you know. And with online radio, just the beauty of it is there's no playlisting, right? So like if I want to do a whole show where I'm playing independent artists, I can do that, or a summer theme, or just anything. You know, that's the part that I like a lot more about online than like the corporate radio stations, is definitely that. And I just feel like, you know, I've had bands personally message me since the year I've been doing Vibe Tunes, is saying like, man, you've helped us grow. You've brought in some listeners, you know, you brought in some followers, stuff like that. And just knowing that, you know, just Vibe Tunes alone, I'm sure there's hundreds of other stations out there that have helped a lot of bands grow. I'm not even putting doubt against it at all. But just knowing that Vibe Tunes has been able to provide that for some bands and maybe help some bands pick up a little bit as well, you know, it's just an honoring feeling.
Yeah, you guys do really well. You know, as a musician, we deal with a lot of these radio stations.
Yeah.
And there's a handful of them that are the best. You know what I mean? As far as that goes, as getting the bands out there and doing a good job with it. You know, some of the radio stations, you know, they might play you one time and then you're forgotten about and stuff. You know, others might take the time and listen to the stuff, really actually listen to it, and so there's a, you know, I hate to say good and bad DJs and good and bad stations or whatever, but there's some that are there's some that are outstanding, and you know there's like a group of them, and you guys made that group.
Appreciate that.
That's out of hundreds of radio stations.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So.
No, I appreciate that for sure. Thank you. I really do.
You guys did good in the short time that you've had it up and running.
Yeah, I mean,
proud of you.
Thank you. I got the other 7 DJs that are on the air. I mean, they're all just amazing. You know, they do their jobs. They come here to work. They come here to promote and to help out all of the artists, help out the fans, get good music, you know, and we also tend to help each other a lot as well, you know. So I mean, the staff that I've been able to put together, it has changed on and off throughout the year. I mean, we've had some people, lost some people, but, you know, for the ones that we do have here right now, honestly, I appreciate the hell out of them just as much as, you know, some people appreciate me as well. You know, I wouldn't be anywhere without the staff of Vibe Tunes for sure.
Yeah, it's great. You know, you know, in that group of radio stations too, there's a bunch of DJs. And I've noticed that they're all starting to get to know each other too.
Yeah.
You know, you guys as DJs, I see. You know, I got a friend in Winnipeg. She plays us all the time, Cindy Macy, and I see she's became friends with a lot of the DJs. You know, from some of the different radio stations that play us.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see them all. They all come together too and get to know each other all over the world and stuff too. It's kind of cool. You know, that's what's nice about the internet thing. You know, you do get to interact with everybody from around the, you know, where if it was the labels that were doing advertising, you would never get to interact with the DJs and stuff like I do.
For sure.
So it's nice, you know. Yeah.
And so, a question I have for you, since we're on a topic of radio shows and stuff, going back to, I don't remember the date, excuse me for this one, but we did a show, it was like a little joint show that I did for you, which was kind of like a tribute venture where I played all the songs that helped you make Crowjack, or songs that you just really liked.
Yeah, that was a few months back.
Yeah.
I remember that.
The only thing I remember about that show is having really low blood sugar and I needed to eat. I remember that one.
Yeah.
But
I think I was pretty sick back then too. I don't know if I was in the hospital when I came up with those songs, or I was pretty sick back then too. So.
But regarding that show though, I mean, what were some of the musical inspirations you would say stood out to you the most within Crowjack's music?
I would think though he's probably one of my favorites. I just love him. Alice Cooper. I loved Alice. Pink Floyd. I was a big fan. You know, I think I turned you guys on to that Blood Rock, to DOA.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool song. That was something that influenced me when I was young. Before I started singing. It was, I had an older sister I had two older sisters. One was 6 years older than me, one was 4 years older than me. But one that was 4 years older than me, she turned me on to a lot of music when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
So I started listening to the good stuff when I was young. Like I say, Alice Cooper, some of the old farts. They really influenced me a lot. And then, especially in the first record, you can hear my influences.
Yeah.
In that first record a lot.
Yeah.
So a lot of people tell me that anyhow over the years.
For sure, yeah.
So, I would think Alice Cooper, David Bowie, Pink Floyd, Aerosmith. I can name millions. We did the cover music for so many years too. So there were so many good bands, that we did songs by, Honeymoon Suite, bands just, sometimes I listen to some YouTube and I just sung that, band after band. I'll think, man, that was a great band. Alex Harvey was a great band. I don't know if you ever listened to Alex Harvey.
I have not. No.
He was awesome.
Yeah. I think, I'm just trying to remember that show a little bit better. I do remember it. It's just, for me, I do so many shows a year that I tend to forget it, but I do remember, I obviously remember doing the show, you were here, do remember that Blood Rock band that you mentioned, but yeah, that's sick though. You named some pretty good bands for sure that helped influence, Crowjack and...
Yeah, Three Dog Night.
Yeah.
They were around long before I ever started singing in bands, and the magical. We listened to the Beatles, the Magical Mystery Tour, that record, and the old Pink Floyd, Relics, and metal stuff like that. It's just was just great stuff.
So
the old Def Leppard in the beginning, Wasted, and all those songs. So I had like a wide range of stuff that I listened to. It wasn't always just metal, or it wasn't always just... I never really got into too much pop or country, but just about all the other venues.
When it comes down to like rock and metal, I'm very diverse. I can go from listening to the crazy death metal stuff to like Eric Clapton. So I try to definitely showcase that a lot in my shows. I'm always running Ghost. Ghost is just a band that's always in my show.
Like this. You kind of turned me on to those guys and made me listen to them a little bit. I like them guys. They're pretty cool.
Yeah,
I've heard of them a lot, you know what I mean? But I didn't really take an interest in them until after I think we talked about it one time or something.
Yeah.
And I said, man, I'm gonna have to give that band a listen because I heard a lot about them and this and that. But yeah, they're cool. I like them.
Yeah, they're definitely a really good band for sure. I've always enjoyed their music. I now do a death metal set every time I do a show, and that all started with me and Carol, because Carol came on and she started playing some death metal, and I was just telling her, I'm like, oh, are you trying to challenge me? Like, okay. So now I have a death metal set going every single Monday and Thursday. It was Thursdays and Saturdays, but I jumped off of the Saturday shows. I wasn't really feeling them anymore, man. I liked having the weekends to myself, and I haven't had that since prior to when I was on the other station. The last time I had a Saturday to myself where I had no radio responsibility at all was definitely May 2023.
That's a good problem to have, huh?
Yeah.
not always, I guess, but that's a good problem. Good that you stay busy.
Yeah, for sure. And then just, I don't know, I felt like Saturdays weren't reaching too many people. Well, they were reaching people, but, I felt like just a Monday would just be better. And it has, honestly. I feel like Mondays have just performed a lot better than any of my Saturday shows have, so I moved over to this slot for sure. But,
Did you ever listen to Metal Mafia?
Metal Mafia. They sound familiar.
You should check into them. I'm sure you can find them on YouTube or Spotify or any of the platforms. Yeah, a friend of mine, their dad was a roadie for us 100 years ago, and he ended up being a union roadie for the WWE wrestling thing. So that's how he made his living.
Okay.
So anyhow, his dad was a good friend of mine, but anyhow, he had a son who was a friend of my daughter's. They have this band, Metal Mafia.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you're speaking of death, I don't know if you would consider them death metal, but they're kind of some kind of metal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I suppose you might call them death metal. But you should check them out because they'd be worth playing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they wouldn't mind you playing their stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, while you said their name, I went and wrote it down on my notepad on the computer so I can get that. Definitely coming.
They're from here, from Ohio. Here, I mean, I think he lives in Berlin Center, which is not too far from where I live.
Yeah.
So Bobby Hacker is one of the singers. His brother Kyle, I think Kyle sings in the band, and they got a guitar player and a drummer, a bass player, and stuff.
Yeah.
But they're young, quite a bit younger than me. But they're they've been around a while. So I mean, they're not green. They do some big shows around here in Cleveland and stuff. But you'd probably like them. They'd be a good band for you to play.
Yeah, I'll definitely look them up for sure and grab their music. Yeah, I'm always looking for more death metal. I mean, the thing is, when I play death metal, it scares people off the show. I've watched numbers leave before when I played death metal. So if it's not scaring some people, I know I'm not doing good enough. So I've recently found this one band. They're called Nihilist, and they are just brutal. So I've been throwing them into all of my rotations every single week. And death metal used to be one of those things where people would leave and be like, I've had enough of this kid's show. But actually, it's starting to turn into kind of like a gimmick now. Like, people are like, when's the death metal set? I'm like, it's coming up in 2 sets.
Yeah, I tell you, these guys, I don't know if you would consider them death metal, but to me, they're more like a death metal, because I'm not quite that heavy.
Yeah.
They're definitely heavier than us. They're kind of rappy and I hate to say rappy, but a little bit of rappy in there. You know what I mean? I mean, they're kind of like, they're new stuff that's out there. Maybe Linkin Park-ish or something, maybe a little heavier than that.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I don't know if I would call them death metal, but definitely a very popular band. So I think you guys, if you listen to a bunch of their songs, I think they got 2 or 3 records out or something. I mean, they've been at it for a while.
Yeah.
And good guys, all good friends of mine. Say I know their dads and stuff real well, but then I know them real well too. So they actually, Bobby Hacker helped me out when I was doing the cover band. They made me play. So
yeah,
he helped me program some keyboards that we needed to program to get through the show. So
yeah,
I bet you probably like.
Yeah. There's a lot of bands out there. I'm very diverse, like I said, with music. I mean, I guess this will be kind of like my first official public announcement of this because I wanted to tell you about it. My next interview, actually, after you, next Wednesday, I'm interviewing a former drummer of AC/DC by the name of Chris Slade.
How you doing? Good for you.
Thank you. I mean, that one... I had to get in contact with him today. I was talking to their promoter, and I couldn't really get an answer. But I got in contact with him today about some things, so we got that all straightened up. And, yeah, I'm talking to him next Wednesday. Then I got another interview coming up at some point. I just decided to reopen the door of interviews because, I don't know if you remember, I did like 4 straight every single Saturday. So after that point, I was like, all right, I need a bit of a break. But... I figured if I'm going to open it up with anybody, I'll open it up with some Crowjack. I've been trying to get...
I appreciate it.
Of course. I mean, I've been trying to get LR for the longest to interview you, but he's working a lot. He's busy. He's a busy guy. I'm very sure he would have interviewed you with no problem. It's just he's just been busy. So
he plays us all the time.
Yeah.
I see when he plays us.
Yeah, and I talked to him.
Most of the time I try and catch it.
I talk to that man privately a lot. He's got nothing but good things to say about you. It's always good things. So, I know he would definitely do that interview for sure. He's been wanting to get into some band interviews and stuff. He interviewed Scully because I couldn't interview him because
I think I did hear a little bit of that interview.
yeah. Scully and I are going to be talking once his album comes out, but I've talked to him too quickly in too many time frames. Like I think I talked to him July 23 and then it was January 24. I was like, well, I got to give a little bit of space to Scully here. But
how's he doing?
Oh, he's doing good. I mean, I actually basically interview him off the air all the time. I give him some phone calls. We talk about things. He's got one band, Twisted World. He's working on bringing in the new singer because they brought in a new singer and a new bassist, so they're working on material for that. And they're finalizing and mastering all the tracks for their newest Seasons of the Wolf album.
I love the singer for Seasons of the Wolf.
Yeah.
I think he's just awesome.
He's a cool dude.
Great singer.
Yeah, and he's popped in the chat a few times. I've had some conversations with him. He's a cool guy. I think the only two I really know of very well would be Rob, which is their singer, and then of course Scully. But I've always liked their music. I've tried to with Crowjack and with Seasons of the Wolf. Those are kind of the bands I try to get out there throughout the show, regardless. I mean, there's sometimes I'll forget to throw you in, or sometimes I'll forget to throw him in. But for the most part, you guys are kind of the ones I try to get out there a lot, because when I was a younger DJ, when I was more greener and inexperienced and stuff, I think you and Scully were like the first two people that really came up to me and was like, yo, I have some music. Yeah, try to get this stuff on the air. And I'm like, oh, okay.
And you did good.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's cool because, we get to watch the station grow and stuff,
Yeah.
And, it's cool to watch. Get older and stuff, and just nice to see, nice to be able to pass something down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Help a younger guy out and learn and stuff. It's nice to be able to do that. I had people that did it for me when I was green and learning the ropes in the business and stuff with the cover bands. That's kind of how you learn with the cover bands. You start off, and that's what gives you. You learn the music business.
Yeah.
And then, so it's nice to be able to pass some of that stuff down.
Absolutely.
To younger guys. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I could say I've seen us grow, but I feel like I'm just so caught up in the moment that, like, I'll see we hit another milestone. I'm like, all right, cool, post it. All right, I got this and this and that. Like, I'm definitely always just kind of in work mode. I mean, if I'm on the computer, it's vibe tunes, So, having other people see the outside perspective is cool. And I think, the biggest thing I get all the time is you're 21 years old and you run a radio station. Like, people are just crazy. People go crazy when they find out how old I am when they come into the station.
Yeah, you got a long way to go. You got time to go a long ways.
Yeah.
So push it. By the time you get my age, you'll be a superstar.
Hope so. I mean, like I said, I got some good people on here. I got Rich Embry. I mean, the dude's a literal pro, so he's always there.
He seems like a good guy. I'd like to do more work with him.
Yeah.
We'll comment on this. I try and share some of this stuff here and there.
Yeah.
Here's another thing too. Facebook has been giving me a rough time about being able to share certain stuff on the Crowjack site. It gets under my skin.
Yeah.
Like crazy, because on my page, I can share as much as I want and post anything I want all the time, and I never get any restrictions. But Crowjack, it seems like if I post more than 4 or 5 different things, then they'll cut me off.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I don't get to post on there. It gets under my skin so bad because I'd rather post on the Crowjack than my own personal page.
Yeah.
But they don't only let me post so much.
We had that issue last year, and so and so to where they actually banned our account. And I've been telling this story a lot recently because it's been a little tiny bit over a year since it happened, and I remember that. I was just saying, I'm on the air. I'm not even joking. I'm on the air while this is happening. And I go to the VibeTunes page. I'm like, I wonder how many likes the banner today got. Your page has been deactivated. And I was like, okay, is there a reason? And I go and I look, and it says for nudity. I'm like, a post contained nudity. I'm like, what? Like, we're a radio station, man. It's not a Playboy magazine. So that happened, and you told me, just tell Facebook support to give you your page back. And I just sat there, give me my page, give me my page, give me my page. And in 2 hours, boom, we're back up.
Well, knock on wood, they never took the page away, but they just won't let me. They'll let me post so many. I post the same stuff every day. I post any of the radio stations that I know are playing us. I always make sure I try and post their posts and share them. Or even if I don't know if they're a radio station that does play us, because some of them don't, some tag you, some don't, so you don't know exactly, if you can't catch them all the time, you don't know who's playing exactly what sometimes. But if I know that a radio station has played us and is playing us now and then, I'm going to plug them too. Yeah. So I plug all these different radio stations and share their posts and stuff. Like I say, usually it'll let me get away with maybe four or five a day. Anything more than that, then I'll get to, say we couldn't post it for whatever reason. I never pay attention. I just go back and I'll post the stuff on my page.
Yeah.
For the rest of the day until they let me free again. So, and actually today I was trying to, I had a bunch of different stuff to post because we're on a bunch of different radio stations today, and I think I got about halfway through the list and shut me down. So.
Damn. Yeah, Facebook's detection has just been terrible. I mean, we had all those issues with them. I had an issue, they limited...
Doc Rock has trouble with it every now and then, too.
Yeah. They limited one of my posts not too long ago, too.
Yeah, that's crazy when they do that crap. I don't know why. It doesn't benefit them. It's not like we're... it's not like we're doing anything bad with the same post that I post every day. Yeah. It's just a different day. That's from the same radio stations. And not always, there's always new radio stations, stuff like that too. But, I mean, every day there's same kind of posts.
Yeah. I never understood it. I think Facebook just... Because they're not ran by humans anymore. It's just all artificial intelligence. And
yeah, I'll tell you, I'm not into this AI stuff here.
Yeah.
I just brought it up. I just think it's... we're talented people. We don't need that crap.
Yeah.
I got a buddy. He's a good guitar player. I played in a few bands with him over. I played a couple cover bands with him. And good guy, good guitar player and stuff. And he writes songs. And some of them are good, some of them not so good. Blah blah blah. But he's been doing it for years, and he likes it. So he posts some stuff. And now that this AI stuff come out, every song he's ever written in his life, he's running through this AI now. Oh. And he'll post it. Well, this is a song I wrote a long time ago, and AI got him aboard, and this is what come out. Now, I haven't even listened to the stuff. It might be good for all I know, but I was just thinking, dude, you don't need this AI stuff. You're a good guitar player.
Yeah.
Just learn. If you write a song that's not so good, learn from it. Say, well, you don't want to go there again. Go somewhere else. Go with the stuff that you're having luck with.
Yeah.
But the AI, I don't know. I see so many people doing it too. A lot of musicians.
Yeah.
And it's a scary thought to me because it's bad enough with the voice benders and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not ragging on that stuff. I've used some of it before at times. But, it's too electronic.
Mm-hmm.
We need to, the human beings, we're talented. And, we don't need that stuff.
Yeah.
Let the talent flow, forget all that AI stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's been times where I've played stuff on my show, and I'm like, is this AI? And then I look it up, and it's not. But I think there's literally just been, like, one AI song I've ever played on my show, and that was just because it was Plankton from SpongeBob, and he was just, somebody prompted him to just say whatever, to sing a song, and I was like, this is funny. I should play this one. But in general, I don't know. I mean, AI in music, and it's like kind of obvious nowadays if you do listen to AI in music, it just sounds very staticky when the quote unquote vocalist is singing, and it's just, I don't know. I can't get into it.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't talk like I do because I don't even listen to it. Just the idea of it, I just don't like it. And I'm just tired of falling for all this crap, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, when it came to Pro Tools and getting away with tapes and starting to do everything digital, that was enough for me. I had a hard time doing that, you know? I mean, I like the old analog and, the old tape machines and stuff. The warmth and stuff was so much nicer, the fidelity. Mm-hmm. So, but now we're doing stuff with Pro Tools and different stuff like that. I mean, it's okay. It's just very convenient. But I just feel like the fidelity is not quite there like it used to be, and I almost like I feel with this AI stuff, or it's just going to be another step in the wrong direction like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just don't even, I'm getting older, and you start to value your time more when you get older. And, especially when you go through some health issues, when you're not sure if you're going to be around tomorrow, mm-hmm. You start to value your time. And I guess I don't even want to make time for this AI stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I definitely do feel like, I mean, because my generation, like my age group, was kind of the finale of what you were saying, like physical music, right? Where you grab a CD from the store and you put it in the radio, or you put it in a CD player, or anything like that. Was the finale. Everything's streaming, everything's digital. And I have, like, as a 21-year-old who's kind of grew up with it, watching it change in front of my eyes, really specifically, I don't know. I like streaming, but then I just kind of don't, Like, I miss the eras of, like, when you had to go to the store to pick up a CD, or when you had to go to the store to pick up a DVD, And
that was all exciting parts. When you get paid, we get paid every week, and the first thing we wanted to do was go to the record store and buy a cassette tape. We try and buy one cassette every time we get paid, And, that was exciting. It was something to look forward to. And, I don't know. It's just, it's all different now. I mean, there's a lot of good points about this stuff. I mean, if it weren't for this digital stuff, you and I wouldn't be talking right now, because, before you almost had to have a label behind you 100% to ever do an interview or even, or have your stuff played on the radio.
Yeah.
And, there's millions of bands out there, and as there are still, but, you just didn't get heard like we can be heard now.
Yeah.
So there's good things about it. I mean, it's great to be heard. That's one thing. The last couple of years since we released the newest record, Ruin Speak, I kind of got back into it, and it's been great. We've gotten a lot of airplay from a lot of different radio stations all over the world. And it's amazing. It's great.
Yeah. Digital definitely has its up and downs. I mean, it's kind of like an up and down for what I do. I mean, we do a radio station and we do the music online and all that stuff, but the bad part is, like, when you have a lot of, everybody has full free range of accessibility of just listening to anything nowadays. So Spotify's and Apple Music's and YouTube's and SoundCloud's, all that type of stuff, like that kind of, all that stuff does kind of take away from us a bit, because, if you're listening to a show and he's not playing the Ghost song that I want to hear, they can just go and look it up,
Yeah, exactly.
But again, it has its ups and downs, and I think, honestly, as long as online radio has been around, I do think it's just the right call to go forward. And I think, honestly, it's a hard field, it's a dying field, but I think there's just something to revive it, and I'm hoping it's us. But
I think it's, you know, music's a very important part of everyone's life. And I mean, I feel it was more important back in the 70s and 80s than it is now. But even now, it's still, even if people don't realize it, it's very, very important part of their life. So I got a feeling something is going to come of it. You know, it's not going to be. There was times when I thought, man, you know, these guys can't make money making records. They're not going to continue to make records. Pretty soon, we're not going to have new music at all.
Yeah,
I think we're going to always have new music. You know, I'm hoping anyhow, and yeah, I'm hoping that something becomes of it to where we get another era. You know, the 70s, the 50s, 60s, and 70s, maybe 80s. Those were the greatest eras for music.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many records being sold, so many concerts selling out, and you know, I like to see it get back to more like that instead of just a handful of bands doing big shows.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, back when I was growing up, you know, we'd go to the Coliseum in Richfield, Cleveland. You know, sometimes we'd go 2-3 times a week, and these would be sold out rock shows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Blue Oyster Cult, I mean, anybody could dream of. I think I've seen Jake Isles, Alex Harvey, Pink Floyd, Aerosmith, Journey, Foreigner. You know, all these, there was so many concerts, and they were all sold out, you know. So I would like to see that come back.
Yeah.
A little bit, you know.
Yeah, I think
So
there's...
I tell you, I've been, you know, some of my friends are in some cover bands around here, around close. Some of the cover bands are doing okay.
Yeah.
You know.
I think there's a probability with music. Music is, like you said, it's just important. Everybody has music in their lives. I mean, anything and everything kind of needs music. Like, you watch a TV show, watch a reality TV show with no background music going the whole time, right?
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah,
People
music
don't
is...
realize how important.
Music is kind of just everything to life. I think that's just literally one of the key pillars to life for sure. So I just think we need to just kind of hit another era where we, as people, just make it as important as possible, you know, make it just seem as big. Like, you go back and you talk about rock and metal, you go back to like the 70s and the 80s and even part of the 90s even. I mean, rock and metal was everywhere. It was like in your face, you know?
Yeah, and it was so enjoyed. I mean, I feel like the people are still listening, and they're still enjoying it to a certain extent, but it's not like the feeling we used to have when we do it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as intense, and it's not as strong as a feeling that we used to get from the music.
Yeah,
I'm not
absolutely.
sure what the answer is to it, though, you know?
Yeah. I think it just needs more mainstream push again. I mean, you go back to those time periods, I mean, rock, metal, all that stuff, I mean, it was everywhere. It was mainstream pushed. And nowadays you got other genres of music like pop and rap and more electronic sounding stuff that's just out there. You know, that's what's really being pushed. And, you know, that think... When it's put to me like that, you know, you got your... I don't want to say any names because I don't want to piss anybody off, but you know, some of these big pop stars, that these I don't know if it's labels or who would get behind them, promoters or whoever they got in their corner that's putting these shows together and these tours and stuff to where these guys are making so much. If they put that kind of efforts into some of these good bands that are really good songwriters and stuff, you know. Yeah.
I think a lot of these pop artists, I hate to say, are like karaoke stars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not the talented, you know, bands. You know, I mean, when you got a band like the Beatles, you got 5 songwriters, all there influencing each other and cheering each other on, and you know, maybe a guy comes up with this riff and another guy says, well, you know, this next riff, I'm not sure it really goes. Why don't you try this? So before you know, you got 5 guys, geniuses, putting their efforts into one song. And that's where you come up with this beautiful songs. And I just think a lot of these big pop stars, it's just not there. That talent.
Yeah.
And so I would like to see the people that are behind these big pop stars get behind some of the bands, some of the newer bands now that are still loaded with talent.
Absolutely.
And I think that would be a step in the right direction as far as taking us back to that arena rock state of mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And, I mean, hopefully one of these days, man, we definitely hit that for sure. I mean, we definitely need more rockers out there, man. We need more people listening to it. I'm trying to get my friends to listen to rock. That's just, it's like pulling teeth. But, yeah, I mean, overall, though, I thought the interview with you today went well. I told you I didn't really have many questions for you. I just wanted to kind of freelance and have a conversation and see what we talk about,
I tell you, we can always find something to talk about.
Exactly.
So,
I mean,
it was nice. It was a nice. It was different. We didn't even go to that fishing spot.
yeah.
We'll have to save that for the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, fishing's always welcome. But thank you, Crowjack. I really do appreciate you being on here tonight with me. I'm going to hope the audio came out all right, at least on my recording end. If not, I'm playing with the audio. I don't care. This interview's going up on YouTube.
That's great. I'll be looking forward to hearing it. And thank you guys for having us as always.
As always, man. Thank you.
Keep doing what you guys are doing. You're doing great.
Thank you.
That's great. Great radio station. And, you keep it going and going and going. 10 years from now, who knows what could happen. I mean, you guys might be the next WMMS.
Let's hope so.
you remember WMMS in Cleveland? They were a big rock station.
No, I know there's a Cincinnati station that you guys got, or over in Ohio, WebN, but never heard of that one before.
Yeah, WMMS. Well, it's still there in Cleveland. They still they're on the air still. But back in the old days, I mean, they made bands. Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Rush will tell you that WMMS in Cleveland gave them their first break in the United States.
Oh.
They came and did a show in Cleveland, and WMMS promoted it, and that was what made them take off.
Shit.
So they were big time. Kid Leo and some of the DJs, very famous radio station.
Said
So that was back in the the 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
So
we got a target goal to hit them. We got to become them.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'd like to see some of you guys get on to FM too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That'd be great.
Yeah, there's gonna be. I think in the next couple of years, Vibe Tunes will have some big expansions. I mean, we're growing pretty well. We're doing very well. It's just a matter of time for just a huge explosion of a bunch of people, and then I want to start working ourselves up to like Sirius and iHeart and everything else. So I will definitely.
Yeah, it'd be great. I'm gonna be right along with you for the ride.
Awesome. But
so I sure appreciate you having us on.
Yep, no problem at all. And maybe if LR's ever interested, LR, if you're listening, get Crowjack on the air as well, man.
Yeah, tell all the DJs that you guys got. Tell them, I always think about them, and sometimes I don't get to speak to them that much anymore. Rich Emery and all them guys, tell them I said hello.
Yep.
And hope all is well.
Awesome. We'll do. All right, man. Thank you very much for joining me. I really do appreciate it, Rod. You have been